So there's this one app that I am absolutely obsessed with for travel, and it's called Take Me Out of Office. It is your one-stop shop for everything travel, and it's perfect for group travel as well because you can add your friends, you can plan itineraries together, you can even make reservations through OpenTable, and you can even book hotels, all of the things. It makes everything so convenient, and it is so aesthetically pleasing. You're going to want to download the app instantly because it is just so cute, and I will have a unique link for you guys in the show notes. So all you have to do is tap on the unique link and you can download the app for free. And you can even follow me at Veronica Droulia. I put every single place that I've traveled to and all of my recommendations, plus photos and things that I liked, things that I ordered, whatever. It's the best app of all time. All you have to do is go to the show notes. There's going to be a unique link that you can tap on to download the app for free. Free free. All you have to do is go to the unique link, tap on it, and download the app for free. Hello, and welcome back to Martinis and Bikinis. I am your hostess, Veronica Droulia, and today we have a return guest back on the show. I'm now referring to her as our in-house health expert because literally anytime I have a question about health, functional medicine, hormones, all of the works, I always refer to my friend Cami, aka the Nourishing Plate. Today, we are discussing all things food as fuel, common misconceptions and behaviors when it comes to food, filling your fridge, meal inspo, building a plate, and so much more. So without further ado, please welcome Cameron Gildea from the Nourishing Plate to Martinis and Bikinis.
Hello, and welcome to Martinis and Bikinis, the podcast for everything under the sun. I am your hostess, Veronica Droulia, and I am here to help you navigate your 20s through all things lifestyle, beauty, and fashion. So, if you're ready, let's dive into today's episode.
I think my biggest fear is if someone handed me a mic and was like, sing for me.
Sing for me, Paolo.
That would be good for you.
No,
you're good at singing.
Oh, not in front of people.
You need to get over that because...
No, I sound completely different when I sing in front of people.
How would you know that if you don't do it?
Because I have.
When's the last time you sang in front of someone?
It's been a while. Sometimes I'll do it in the car with friends, but it's not real, I guess. It's not like my full out experience.
If I could sing just like a smidge, I would be so obnoxious. I would sing. I would be one of those people on Instagram that's like horizontal, like, just like singing in like covers.
It's a lot of pressure. It's scary. I had my first boyfriend in college told me that it was bad.
So that's why.
Yeah.
It's always a boy's fault.
It's always been in my head that I'm terrible. So I just don't do it. It's just something that I enjoy by myself.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess it's fine unless you like wanted to be a performer. Then I would not be okay with that. I'd be like...
Yeah, I don't want to be a performer.
Okay.
I like it for like a hobby.
Okay.
I think whenever I was younger, I thought that would be cool. But I think it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. There's a lot of competition.
Be a pop star?
Yeah. Well, the Nourishing Plate, welcome back to Martinis and Bikinis.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We're a little delulu today. But
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you said you wanted to come back on. Well, I kind of forced you to come back on, but I feel like we had you introduce yourself to the audience last time you were here, but there's so many different topics that I feel like we could just continue on talking about and just keep bringing you on. You're like our go-to health expert here on the podcast.
Anytime you want me, I'll be here.
Great.
Yeah. Mic me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like lately you have been hosting some really fun dinner parties. And this is really what prompted me to have you on today because I've had like so many questions about just food as fuel and meal inspo and just how as a 20-something-year-old our relationship with food really just develops and blossoms. And I feel like everybody has such a different relationship and situation when it comes to food. And I feel like it's something that's really helpful to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had this beautiful Valentine's dinner the other night. You were such a good hostess, by the way.
That means a lot because I love hosting.
You're really good at it.
One of my love languages is acts of service and feeding people. I'm Middle Eastern, so maybe it like ties into that, but come to my apartment. You're going to leave full.
And taken care of.
Thank you. I try.
You have the vibe curated so well.
Thank you.
Music on a good volume. Very good, just social music, but like deep, meaningful conversation style music. You have like little desserts in your fridge.
Always.
You have candles lit. It's just like a whole
non-toxic
vibe.
candles. Everyone just want to put that out. I appreciate you pointing that out because it's all intentional.
Right.
Like I'm the type of person, I love control and I like lighting a certain way. I like smells a certain way. I like ambiance. I like energy. So if I can control it, I'm going to make it a good vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're slaying. I keep saying that all week. I've been just saying slay and it needs to end. I need like just someone to like zap me every time I say it. Anyway.
There's worse things to say.
That's true. And I've said them. But anyway, you actually made this like 30 plant meal for us. You had 30 different plants in the meal. And I feel like I'm just so amazed every single time I come to your apartment because you just happen to just absorb all these nutrients into the food somehow. So how do you go about doing that?
So I, in general, have an abundance mindset when it comes to food. Instead of what do I have to eliminate to make this healthy? What can I put in this? I think, what can I add to this meal to make it more nourishing, more gut friendly, more hormone balancing friendly, more delicious? So I think of, again, what can I add in? So for example, I made a pasta bolognese with a beet salad. And it sounds like two basic things, but how did I get 30 plus plants in there? And it's because with the pasta bolognese, I added blitzed up mushrooms and lentils to the meat sauce. And then I added an array of spices. I used Ralph's tomato sauce, which has organic ingredients and it also has a lot of olive oil, spices, herbs, etc. With the salad was a base of 15 different organic dark leafy greens. And then I used beets. I put hemp seeds in there. The dressing, had some tahini, which is a plant, some mustard seed. Through a lot of herbs, spices, nut seeds, I got to the 30 plus. But again, if you guys are listening and you're like, why? What's the point of that? It's because studies have shown us that eating 30 different plant-based foods a week optimizes gut health. And the more diverse your diet is, the more diverse your gut microbiome will be. So a plant can be a fruit, veg, nut seed, grain, legume, herb, spice. So that's why, I make it my goal to try to diversify. That's a week though. I did it in a meal because I'm crazy, but you can do it in a week.
No, I thought that was so iconic. And whenever you told me that that's the amount you're supposed to get per week and we just got it in that one meal.
You're like, health check.
Yeah, I just felt like I accomplished something.
Yeah.
And you helped me do that. So thank you for that. But I love how you just know to add different seeds like hemp seeds and just little things here and there that you can just throw in a meal to make it more nutritious and better for your gut. So I think that's like a really good tip for people that are wanting to just get more nutrients in their diet, maybe eat a cleaner diet.
Right. I would say also start with like nuts, seeds, and spices because that's not intimidating. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, how am I going to get different vegetables and fruit? Like that's crazy. Again, it can be an herb, spice, nut, seeds. So pumpkin seeds. Maybe one week you focus on pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds in your salad. And the following week you focus on chia seeds and putting tahini in your dressing. Just doing those little things really adds up. And then you get more comfortable with it. You like the taste, it becomes more habitual, and then you're likely to add more and more on. But again, you don't need to go to the grocery store and buy every fruit, every vegetable, every nut, seed. Just pick one or two, even spices. Maybe start with, rosemary, thyme on your veg one week, and then the next week you do paprika, cumin, cinnamon.
Right. Yeah. And also those bags of seeds and things like that, they last you a really long time.
Right.
So that's something that you can just add into each meal that you make and see how you can make things work. But I love that. I think that's great. And I think if people are wondering why we're talking about this and why getting 30 different plants in your diet every week is important, I think there's so many people, especially at this time in life, that have a very warped relationship with food and think that if I eat less and I work out more and I burn more calories, then I'm going to achieve this certain aesthetic. And that's not always true.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's
true at all.
If that was the, if that worked, no one would have an issue. Eating less and working out more, unfortunately, is not the answer to world peace and the ideal body.
I think it's definitely a generational thing too that's passed
100%.
down, because I'll even listen to, some of my older friends or family friends, or even things that my parents say. And it's just, it's definitely something that I feel blessed to be more educated about, because I feel like not a lot of people have tried to educate themselves about how you can fuel yourself, and not even just for the aesthetic purpose, but just to make yourself feel good, to make your skin clear up, to have like cognitive function. I can't really speak to that right now because I'm so sleepy today, but I feel like there's so many different benefits that you start realizing you are having because of your diet.
100%. Yeah. Food helps to make up every cell in the body and the brain. So what you choose to eat is going to impact cognitive function, your gut health, your hormones in the body. So it is really important that, you focus on what you're eating, but also that you don't just do it for, exterior motives, because that can get a little bit unhealthy if that is, your primary,
concern.
Goal.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because you mentioned generational. I see a lot of male clients that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s that struggle with weight. Also, obviously females as well, and I have to constantly break down the science of calories are not equal. Eating less and working out more clearly does not work, because that's what you're doing and it's not working. And it's because your hormones are off. It's because you have a higher toxic burden. It could be because of lack of sleep, adrenal fatigue. There's so many things that go into weight that isn't just exercise and food. Don't get me wrong. Exercising is amazing and food is obviously so important, but there are, there's more to it.
Right. Well, I feel like you have to fuel your body to gain results if you're going into the gym, because otherwise your body's going to go into stress mode probably.
Exactly.
And not even deliver those results if you are looking at it from like a vanity lens. But this is kind of random. I went to the well the other day. I've been going every week and getting a foot rub. I'm addicted. And I had a lot of tension in the left, like middle part of my right foot. So I look it up because I know reflexology is huge in like the Chinese medicine world. And that area that was super tense and sensitive was my adrenals and adrenal glands. So I like started doing some more research, and I don't know if that's because I have like adrenal fatigue or how that's connected, but I thought that was super interesting. And what are some ways that I could start fueling my body to
help your adrenals?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the adrenals sit on top of the kidneys, and they're responsible for producing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And a lot of people's adrenals are tired and fatigued, and it's because the body prioritizes stress. So let's say there's a mom and two kids. The two kids, one is stress and the other ones are sex hormones. The body's going to prioritize stress over secreting and balancing hormones. Because if you think about it, if you're being chased by a bear and you're in that sympathetic nervous system, you're in that fight or flight mode, you don't need to, secrete hormones so you can have a baby, or, that's not important. What's important is getting you out of that scary situation. So a lot of people with hormone imbalances that are really stressed out, hormones are secondary. Balancing hormones are secondary. First, we need to get their body out of that fight or flight mode, out of that sympathetic nervous system, because when we're in that fight or flight mode, our body's not able to digest as well or metabolize as well. Again, if you think about it, if we're being chased by a bear, we don't really need to digest our food, right? So when it comes to the adrenals, activating the parasympathetic nervous system throughout the day, more so than not, is going to be helpful. And what that means is activating that rest digest mode. So disconnecting from stimulating activities, whether that's scrolling or watching, something that's going to be not the best in turn, what's going to help is, meditation, drinking warm liquids, taking a bath, going outside for a walk. Studies have shown that just going outside in nature decreases cortisol by 30%. So foot rubs and acupuncture.
You guys should see me at the well. I am sitting in a chair just like this. My legs are up. I forget the guy's name. He's never even told me his name, honestly, but I've seen him so many times. And I have my headphones on. They give you these like big headphones. You get like this eye mask if you want one. They put like this like warm essential oil infused neck.
They should really
pillow
hire
on
you for
I know
promotion because
for foot rubs, for foot rubs only because that's the only service I get there. But then I'll put on the robe. I'll get the bone broth.
So
I'll go in the little reading corner.
Oh my gosh.
Read my book.
Love.
Steam.
I'm going to go.
I'm going on Thursday. We'll go.
Okay.
You should come.
I'll be out of town, but next time.
All right. Where are you going?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next time I'm there.
What you doing there? Just going home?
So I'm working in office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I try to see clients in person a couple days a month. So.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So are all of your clients based in Pennsylvania?
Mm-mm. So a lot are, but I see everyone from all over the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just through Sage Health, the functional medicine practice I work at. A lot of those are Pennsylvania, but we did launch a virtual practice in January, and we are now seeing people from all over the United States.
Wow.
So,
well, if you guys want an integrative nutritionist
or a functional medicine
doctor, hit up Sage Health.
Yeah.
Work with Cammie.
Work with me.
But going back to food as fuel,
yeah.
I would love to talk more about just practical ways to build a plate or meal prep. I don't know if you're into meal prepping. I'm not like the biggest meal prepper. Or just get like meal inspiration. I feel like sometimes I go into the grocery store with no plan. I used to be a big planner, but the grocery's very expensive now and I get very overwhelmed. Sometimes I'll go to Amazon and like put everything into the Whole Foods cart that I would just want. And then I get really overwhelmed because it's like $200 and then I don't know what to do with myself. So then I just go to the store and just kind of freeball it, but then I get overwhelmed. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are making the same things over and over and over again and just need some more diversification. And I feel like you're the perfect person to ask for that.
Yeah. So grocery shopping can be overwhelming, especially if you're new to it. I would say make a plan prior, especially if you're not, in a routine of, I know what I like. I know how to stock my fridge and pantry so I can make all the things I want to make. I provide a meal list for what to put in the fridge and the freezer and the pantry, what to get, for produce each week or every 2 weeks. And that can provide some clarity, but we can start with protein. So first off, when you build a plate, we want, a lot of it to be the non-starchy veggie plant foods. So like the cruciferous vegetables, which are broccoli, cauliflower, kale, red cabbage, arugula, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. Those provide a lot of nutrients. They contain chemicals like sulforaphane and DIM, which help detox the liver, help with gut health. So it's recommended to get at least 2 cups a day of those. So pick maybe 1 or 2 for the week. So you can get a bag of mixed organic greens or maybe just arugula if you prefer that. And then there you go. You have a base of greens. Then we go into the protein. Really depends on the individual if you prefer more plant or animal. But let's say it's animal. Maybe you can do wild salmon or wild, organic turkey or chicken or grass-finished beef. Just pick maybe 1 or 2 for the week. You can also do wild shrimp. And then, you got your protein sorted. And then you can really focus on, colors. So let's say you you're a sweet potato person and you're used to getting the normal orange. Maybe get a Japanese sweet potato this week.
I love those.
Yeah, so good.
They're so yummy.
They're so good.
They're just like a little sweeter, maybe. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they're a little. It depends. So, do you think the purple on the inside or the white in the outside, purple on the outside?
Sweeter, but it's like a different type of sweet.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like them.
I like to put make like a tahini miso sauce.
Ooh,
Very good.
that sounds really good.
It's really good.
Yeah. So you just put tahini and miso?
Yeah, mix it, like make a little sauce. You can put a little bit of a splash of sesame oil too in there.
Yum.
And then drizzle that on your Japanese sweet potato.
I like seeds and stuff like that. Tahini lasts forever as well.
Right.
I guess if you're making tahini sauce every night, though, it
Tahini does not last for me.
I know you love tahini.
I'm a tahini girl. Again, Middle Eastern. My family makes fun of me. They think I drink it. I'm just, again, big fan.
It's great.
No, it's
But we
great.
both have a nut allergy, so tahini is kind of essential for us. I feel like
Definitely
when it comes
essential.
to just wanting to have that taste or
Yeah, it's nutty, right? It's nutty, and it's also good in dressings, or it's good. I like to stuff Majol dates with it. I prefer that over like almond butter. I just think the taste is better. So
This is a really good tip. You made me this dessert, and you cut dates in half, and you put tahini, just like a little slabber, a little slab of tahini, and then Honey Mama's chocolate, and
cinnamon.
And cinnamon. I didn't know you put cinnamon on it. Wow. I ate that it actually did not last me long at all. I ate them so quickly. It was delicious.
Yeah, same, like as it should. Again, abundance, throw everything I can on anything. So
Right.
yeah, it's one of my favorite sweet treats are dates and you can stuff walnuts if you can eat walnuts, or pecans, or pistachios. I like to do tahini, but you can also do almond butter, and it's really great as a sweet treat. And then you can always freeze it or warm it up in the microwave. Some people like to do that.
Yum.
Yeah.
Man, try that. Well, I kind of want to backtrack for a second because we were talking about protein and then adding color. With protein, I know you mentioned grass-fed, and I think that I don't know if you watched the Twin Experiment on Netflix. And if you guys haven't watched it, I definitely recommend watching it because it's interesting. I know that there's some information that's a little skewed because I think you told me this, that there's an organization that's backing it that makes it a little biased.
It depends with all documentaries. You always just, in general, studies, you always want to look at who's funding it. I'm not I have not researched this documentary in length to talk too much on it, but there's always, sides to everything and nuances.
Well, it's really interesting because they take two twins, well, one set of twins, they're identical twins, and they actually have a ton of different twins. And it's a controlled substance type experiment because they have the same DNA, and one goes on a carnivore diet and then the other one goes on a plant-based diet, and they do all these different tests and come up with all these different theories as to which one is more productive and better for your body, and just even sex drive, like all of this different stuff. So in the show, I'm not going to do any spoilers for anybody, but they talk about just animal farming, like as far as even fish goes, grass-fed beef, eggs, chickens, like all of that. So what are your tips for people finding the most high quality meats or protein or whatever they're trying to, eat for dinner, put in their diet?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it goes far beyond just animal products. We tamper with everything in this country. It's really, really unfortunate. But when it comes to animal products, we want to make sure that we are being mindful of what the animals are being fed and their environment. So for, a cow, we tamper with that animal and the pig a lot. We pump it with synthetic hormones. We feed it genetically modified grains. We pump it with antibiotics as well. So again, if you're buying conventional animal products, you also are ingesting, those things. So when it comes to the cow, you want to make sure it's grass finished. What that means is that the cow is fed grass from the time it was born to the time it died. Whereas, conventional, it could be grain fed, which the top genetically modified crops in the United States are wheat, corn, and soy. And that's typically what animals are fed. Also, we're spraying and growing herbicides and pesticides in those, with those crops. So we're seeing, glyphosate being an issue, and glyphosate's an herbicide in Roundup. And a lot of patients at the practice are getting cancer. I shouldn't say just at the practice, in general, are getting cancer. And I read in my practice a total tox burden test, which tells me which toxins are in an individual. And I'm seeing glyphosate really, really high for a lot of people.
Wow.
Because the body has a hard time ridding itself of it because it's so toxic. So the way we can reduce our overall toxic burden, especially our exposure to glyphosate, is eating organic and choosing animal products and grains that are sourced correctly. So when it comes to animal, again, trying to make sure it's from an organic farm. When it's beef, it's grass finished. When it's fish, it's wild caught. When it's eggs, they're pasture raised. Chicken, turkey, always organic. So it does matter. It is unfortunately more costly, but there are services like Butcher Box and Primal Pastures that offer, delivery. So
That's
it can
great.
become a little bit more convenient.
I went to the farmer's market this weekend. I got some grass-fed beef and it tasted amazing. It was so much more fresh. But
So with grass-fed, this is a question I get a lot too. There's, again, you just want to talk to the farmer, because grass-fed can mean it was fed grass from the time it was born to the time it died, but it can also mean that it was fed grass majority of its life, but it was finished off with grains, and it can be like wheat, corn, and soy. So you just want to be mindful and talk to the farmer to see.
So somebody had actually came up while I was purchasing it and asked that question.
Oh, amazing.
Which I didn't even think to ask. And he said that it was, thankfully.
Amazing.
Because I was about to spend a lot of money on this
it's
filet mignon.
Isn't it wild that it's more expensive if we don't tamper with the animal? It's frustrating, but with produce too, you want to be mindful that it's organic, because we tamper with the soil. The soil is quite depleted, so you want to make sure that you're buying organic produce as well.
I'm putting a lot of pressure onto sourcing and what type of protein you should be getting and X, Y, and Z. But I think if you're trying your best, that's the best you can do.
It can be very overwhelming. Like, I never talk on sourcing too much in the beginning. Say you're coming from a standard American diet where you're eating a lot of fast food, a lot of processed food. The first step is not educating on grass finished, grass fed. That's later on. The first step is not talking about ways to reduce your overall toxic burden, swapping out household, for non-toxic products. The first step is just, understanding what a macronutrient is, what protein, carbs, and fat, how to build a healthy plate, where to grocery shop. So there's so much to health and overall health, but just making the first step and dipping your toe in is good enough.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm not trying to sway anybody away. I'm just genuinely curious about this stuff. But going back to building a plate. So we have our protein, we have our colors. What's next? Our fat.
Yeah. So healthy fats. There's a lot of talk on fats. There's monosaturated fat. There's trans fats. I really want to focus on omega-3 fatty acids, the healthy fats, the EPA, the DHA. So making sure that you're including cold pressed olive oil and hemp seeds and avocados and walnuts. Chia seeds are a great one. Typically the smaller, fattier fishes like herring, sardines, mackerel are going to have a lot of healthy fats and high amounts of protein too. So if you like them, great. If you don't, that's okay. Focus on the other ones. But yeah, avocados, olive oil, walnuts, all of those are really great. Great for cognitive function, great for blood sugar and cholesterol and hormone health. So focusing on getting those in. And yes, but a majority, I like to think color. So every time you look down at your plate, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, can you see 3 different colors on your plate? If you think of the standard American diet, it's very brown, it's very tan. Despite a lot of Americans looking well fed, most are malnourished because the colors are lacking in the food. Again, think of a meal from Arby's or McDonald's. Very brown, very tan. So that's why I really want to emphasize on diversity. Look down at your plate. Can you count 3 different colors?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good rule of thumb for sure. So if you were cooking dinner tonight, what are some meal inspirations that you can give to the audience?
So I'm a big proponent of cooking your favorite meals, just making them healthier. When a lot of people think healthy, they think a boring romaine salad, they think carrots and hummus, they think just bland eggs, no, dairy in their coffee. It's very boring. And why would anyone want to eat that way the rest of their life? That's why I'm very anti-yo-yo dieting. I'm anti-restriction. I'm anti-depriving yourself, because it does not work. When you eat a certain way that makes you sad, you're not going to want to do it for a long time. No. So instead, I propose eating your favorite foods, just swapping them for healthier alternatives. So I would say, think of your favorite meal, whether it's Mexican, Mediterranean, pasta, and then think, how can I make this more nutrient dense? What ingredients can I swap so I can still make my favorite meal? I'm just going to make it anti-inflammatory. Right. So if it is, Mexican, think, okay, Mexican, typically there's taco meat. You can make that meat from organic turkey. You can always add in like blitzed mushrooms to the meat, or lentils to make it more fiber packed. And then the organic taco spice. You can omit the turkey, and if you want to make it more plant-based, just do the lentils and mushrooms. Then you have the avocado that can be mashed into a guacamole, or you can just have some avocado. You have tomatoes. It can be in salsa form or just tomatoes. You can make cumin spiced black beans. So black beans with some cumin on there. And then you can do like a balsamic olive oil dressing. When it comes to the base, it can be a base of greens. It can be a siete tortilla. It can be a hard shell, siete hard shell. It can be the tortilla chips. So again, it's making your favorite meal, just swapping it up for healthier ingredients. If it's Mediterranean, do you want that in a bowl style? Do you want that more like in a pita with hummus? So again, think about your favorite meals and then think about healthier alternatives.
Yeah, you actually have a really good bread recommendation. That
Did you try it? Did it come in yet?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to try it soon.
Yeah.
I still have my Need Love bread that I haven't dipped into yet.
Oh, you just got it. Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff.
So how do you feel about like gluten-free, dairy-free?
So it depends on the person. So nutrition is not a one-size-fit-all approach. Just because someone eats a certain way does not mean you should eat a certain way. It really depends on the person, their gut health, their genetics, their lifestyle. So when it comes to dairy, if you are lactose intolerant or you're sensitive to the protein casein, A1 casein or A2 casein in a cow or sheep or goat, whatever it may be, then don't eat dairy. If you have adverse reactions, don't eat it. If you don't, and you feel great off of Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, eat it. Just make sure it's sourced well, like from an organic, company or farm. When it comes to gluten, again, it's not its fault. It's what we do to it. So we tamper with the wheat. I said the top genetically modified are wheat, corn, and soy, so we do tamper with wheat. When you see the word flour in bread, that could mean 30 different grains, half of them genetically modified, half of them not. Whereas when you see, let's say, organic sourdough, you see only a couple ingredients, organic wheat, water, salt, yeast, whatever it may be. Great, your body knows what all of those ingredients are. It's going to digest a lot better than having a bread or a bun or a cracker that has 20 plus ingredients, half of them genetically modified, half of them not real.
Right.
So it's all about your body, the sourcing, and the additives. Right. So there's a lot that goes into gluten and dairy free. I do see a lot of people nowadays that have sensitivities that never had sensitivities before. That can be stemmed from gut imbalances. So too much bad bacteria versus good bacteria causing those adverse reactions. Again, it could also be due to lacking the enzyme lactase. So there's so many different things that go into it. It's not just black and white.
I know a lot of people have done elimination diets. Are you an advocate for those?
Yeah, I propose them if someone's having a lot of issues. Typically, it takes about 21 to 28 days of removing a food and then adding it back in for the body to talk to appropriately. So let's say you do have a sensitivity to dairy. You have to remove it from your diet for longer than a day or two and then add it back in for your body to let you know if it's liking it or not liking it. So I do like it for testing out some sensitivities.
Yeah.
But it's not something that the common person needs to do unless if they're in good health and they don't have GI issues or, symptoms, no, you don't have to do that. But if you are, work with a practitioner, do it correctly, and see if, there are possible sensitivities.
Right. So I don't have a dairy sensitivity, but I'm very particular about the dairy that I consume.
Great.
I don't know if that's the right path, but I love like feta, goat cheese, maybe like low moisture mozzarella if I'm just like wanting it. But I usually try and stay away from everything else if I can. And I don't know if that's like the right route or if they're all kind of the same or.
Yeah, no. So dairy's not all the same. It's really about the sourcing. So you want to make sure it's organic. Even when it comes to if someone's drinking milk or butter or cheese, you want to make sure it's from a good source.
Yeah.
Like American cheese or cheese out of a can is definitely a lot different than having like a nice Parmesan or organic Greek yogurt. So if you can tolerate dairy, continue doing what you're doing. Source from like high quality dairy.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I kind of want to talk more about alcohol and how that affects the body. I know this podcast is literally called Martinis and Bikinis, and I do dabble in the martini world.
Yeah.
But I've been really interested in how alcohol affects the body recently. I've been looking at so many different people's pages that maybe did dry January and talked about their results, or maybe they've been alcohol free for years and they're talking about their experiences. I know Melissa Wood Health talks about her experience a lot. What does alcohol actually do to the body? And is this going to freak me out and make me never want to drink again?
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far into it. I'm a big proponent of balance. I think life should be fun and healthy, but there's a balance. I don't think eating 100% organic, non-GMO plant foods is worth it if you're miserable and sad and lonely. That's, like it's not, go out to your favorite restaurant. Sure, they're cooking with maybe not the best oils and not picking probably the best, produce, but you're having fun. That's so important. I think if alcohol adds value to someone's life, if it's in moderation, it's like not, every day, it's not ruining your life or relationships or impeding on your health too much. It's okay to have it. It's just, again, the quality, the sourcing that I'm really particular about. So making sure that you are mindful of the ingredients. So there's going to be natural flavors and additives in a lot of these canned beverages. It's also sometimes in aluminum and has like BPA. So then again, you're exposing yourself to even more toxins that already is in alcohol. So I'm not a big fan of that. But basically when we drink, our liver has to wake up in the middle of the night to detox the alcohol. So even though some people think alcohol makes them fall asleep, it actually impedes on sleep because, you're not going to get that resting, that deep sleep that you would desire if you did not drink. A lot of people, it's fun now with the Oura ring because my friends will see that when they do drink, they're like, oh my gosh, my sleep score.
It's kind of a cult. I will see people on the street with it and I always have to ask, do you love your Oura ring?
What do you think
of your Oura ring?
When I see a guy in it, I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm like attracted. I'm like, you take care of yourself. You are interested in your sleep. Like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm like, and also when I see, girls, I'm like, we would be friends. You
That's
care.
My new bestie. Love her.
But anyway, the Oura ring is fun because it does clock when you drink and your sleep score and your readiness score do decline. And it, again, puts a little tidbit in your brain that, this doesn't impact my health in a negative way, unfortunately. But I'm not all anti-alcohol. I don't like to drink because it makes me feel terrible. But that doesn't mean I never drink. It just, when I do, organic wine, try to make sure it's sulfate free. The grapes weren't tampered with. It's tequila. I try to make sure it's a high quality tequila. When it's vodka, I try to make sure it's made from grapes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like Ciroc is made from grapes.
Really? Huh.
Again, I'm not like an alcohol expert because I don't drink, so I'm not quite sure like what every brand is made out of. So just be mindful and look it up. Let's say you have a favorite brand,
I actually went to the wine store the other day and got this natural organic wine and it was delicious.
Oh, good.
I can't remember the name of it, but if I do, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Dry Farm Wines is a good wine company for organic natural wine. Thrive Market has a lot on there. It's becoming more prevalent just because we're tampering with vineyards so much that people are becoming, mindful. And also sulfates really make you feel terrible. So
I actually used to have these things I ordered on Amazon. They were called wine wands.
Yeah.
I don't know if they work.
I don't know either.
But it's basically this little mesh spoon, and you would let it sit there in the wine glass for like 5 minutes.
It's supposed to take out the sulfates, right, or something?
Yeah. I don't know if it actually worked, but I think it was kind of placebo.
Love the idea of it. Yeah, again, I'm not. I would have to look at the research.
So let's talk about cravings, because I know we talked about this recently. And if you have sugar cravings, there's maybe some underlying causes for that.
100%.
And maybe just give us some
insight into
that. Yeah.
So cravings are quite interesting. If whether it's salt or sugar, I typically see more sugar cravings in my practice, people struggling with, and that's your body's way of telling you like something's up. It can be adrenal related. So when someone's chronically stressed or tired, your brain, your body will seek out sugary foods to give it, boosted dopamine and some energy. So that could be a reason as to why you're craving energy, especially you're craving sugar, especially when it comes like to 2 and 4 in the afternoon when you maybe have a crash. It could also be related to gut imbalances. So I see a lot of people that are craving sugar all day, every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they cannot get enough. There's a difference between being addicted to sugar and, having maybe an imbalance. So that I do look out for yeast overgrowth or bacteria overgrowth. So if someone's experiencing sugar cravings all day, every day, they typically eat healthy. They aren't eating, M&Ms their whole life or cookies. It's just like a new thing. I will have them fill out, Candida yeast type questionnaire, and then I'll typically look into a GI map, which is a stool test to see if they have any overgrowth. Typically that comes with lower GI bloating, white thrush on a tongue, reoccurring UTIs or yeast infections, fungus on nails or toes, reoccurring sinus infections, etc. Those are some symptoms. So again, sugar cravings could be telling you maybe there's more to it. It can also be emotional. So some people gravitate towards
like a trauma response.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that they flocked to as a kid whenever things were emotionally
100%.
heavy.
Yeah. So it can be more of like a response, a habitual act that brings them comfort. And again, gives them a flood of those happy neurotransmitters. So it makes them feel happier, even though it might not be good for them. They might be so low and not feeling great that their brain wants to feel a little bit happier, so they'll seek them out. But yeah, there's a lot of underlying reasons for sugar. So if you are constantly craving sugar and it's a new thing, talk to someone about it. Maybe get some testing done, see, investigate the why, the root to it, because there is always a root.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's some massive implications of this reliancy on sugar. If you're eating sugar
100%
all day, every day, I'm sure is it your glucose levels that are affected, or
your glucose can definitely be affected. So this is a good thing you bring up. So I see a lot of people at the end of the day overeating, especially sugary foods, high carbohydrate rich foods. And I hear, like today, I even heard it, I have no willpower. It's willpower. I wish I had more of it. And I'm like, okay, it has nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with blood sugar dysregulation and physiology. So what that means is if you're not eating enough for breakfast and lunch, your blood sugar is going to drop. When your blood sugar drops by the end of the day, the brain is like, oh my gosh, I need glucose. I run off glucose. I don't want to faint. I don't want something bad to happen. So it's going to seek out high glycemic foods, something that's going to spike glucose quickly. That's not going to be a salad. That's not going to be a carrot, right? It's going to be the chips, the cookies, the pasta, the pizza, the donuts. You're going to seek those foods out. You're going to eat them, and then you're going to feel like you cannot stop eating them, right? It's not due to lack of willpower. It's typically due to restriction earlier in the day, meaning that you did not eat enough for breakfast and lunch. So your blood sugar was dysregulated. So by the end of the day, your brain goes, I run off food. I run off fuel. You didn't feed me the appropriate amount of nutrients, so I'm going to seek it out. Again, we think we're in control. We're not in control. The brain's in control. So then the brain's going to seek those foods out. You're going to eat them. You're going to feel like you cannot stop eating them. Typically, you feel guilt and shame. And then you go back to the cycle of restriction the next day to make up for it. And then by the end of the night, you overeat. So instead, I suggest eating breakfast, eating lunch, eating enough. So by the end of the day, you're not running on low.
Right. Yeah, I went through this period in my life where I did not eat breakfast ever. And then I would get to work and I would work on my computer all day. And then I'd realize that I hadn't eaten literally all day, which is so bad. And I would try to make something healthy. I would make like a bonza pasta or like a chickpea pasta with turkey and whatever. And I would eat the entire pot.
Yeah.
And I just kept restricting myself the next day because I would feel so gross. I felt so heavy, so bloated from eating so much in one sitting. And it's interesting that you brought that up because I used to do that myself.
Yeah, a lot of people do that and don't understand why. And it's because, again, I like the analogy of a car. Let's say our car needs to go from New York to Pennsylvania, and we expect it to be a smooth sailing journey, but we're not putting any gas in the car. So we're going to be pushing the car from New York to Pennsylvania from morning to night, expecting to be happy, our brain to be on, to connect to people, to do our job well. How are we supposed to do that if no gas is in the car? And then by the end of the day, the car is like, I did not get to where I needed to go. And then you're like, oh no. Instead, I propose putting gas in the car. So fueling yourself breakfast and lunch so you're not pushing the car. You can actually get what you need to get done and feel good. And a lot of it stems from restriction, breakfast and lunch.
I feel like there is a lot of talk about intermittent fasting all the time.
Yeah.
And I recently heard that it's really impractical for women to be intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Maybe for men, there's some sort of advantage to it. I honestly don't know the science behind it, but if you would like to provide some clarification, I feel like that's something that people are constantly talking about and getting some clarity on that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, health is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Just because your best friend, your boyfriend, your mom is doing something does not mean you should be doing it. Regarding intermittent fasting, it is not great for everyone. So especially women who have hormone imbalances, I do not recommend intermittent fasting. And that's because, let's say you have low progesterone. When we don't eat in the morning, our body has to rely on cortisol to regain blood sugar. And what this means is that our body, without fuel in it, is going to rely on a stress hormone. And cortisol and progesterone have a synergistic relationship. So if cortisol goes up, progesterone is going to go down. We don't want that. Let's say someone already has a low progesterone, which is very common. Why would you want it to go even lower? Instead, we want to help the adrenals out. We don't want them to be stressing upon waking, right? So eating within the first hour of waking is actually going to be really imperative for someone struggling with a hormone imbalance, not fasting.
Right.
Okay. So with men though, a lot of men feel really great. Mental clarity, feel amazing, can perform really well in the gym. If that's you, amazing. Continue doing it. If it's not you and you feel starving and you can't, perform as well, then try eating breakfast. Again, food is fuel. So test that out. Even recently, and I know all this, I know all the science. I did not have time to eat before one of my workouts. And I thought I was like, I can't do these. I can't get through this. I'm like struggling. I thought I was going to faint. I was like, I need a foot long right now. Like I need something in me because I'm unwell. And it was just a good reminder that food is fuel. Like I perform so much better when I have energy, and food is energy. So again, it's not a one size fit all. If you feel great intermittent fasting and your levels are great, continue. If you're a woman who has a hormone imbalance and is already stressed out, do not intermittent fast, because again, fasting stresses out the body. So if you have kids, you're running around, you're doing high intensity workouts, whatever it is, and you're already stressed, intermittent fasting is going to stress you out further. Do not do that.
Yeah.
So I, every morning, have the same breakfast. I am a creature of habit and I probably need to mix it up. But
What is it?
I do 3 eggs. I have chopped pepper, chopped onion, and then I put cherry tomatoes on top and avocado and yellowbird sriracha.
Oh, Yellowbird's good.
I love yellowbird, but I have it every single day. So I probably need to mix it up a bit.
I mean, I'm happy that you're having a diverse range of colors. You're getting a good amount of protein in. I see a lot of people who are egg people only doing 1 or 2 eggs. That's not enough. There's about 6 grams in 1 egg. Ideally, we want 20 to 35 grams of protein per meal, especially for breakfast.
So I could do 4 eggs?
No, I wouldn't do 4 eggs. No. I would continue doing 3 eggs and then maybe sprinkle some hemp seeds on there.
Ooh, good idea.
Or if you like Applegate products, they have like chicken and turkey.
I love Applegate.
Yeah, so maybe dabbling in that. Or if you want to add more plant protein, again, nut seeds are a good option.
So what about lunch? What's a good lunchtime meal to just make sure you have energy throughout the day? I know a lot of people always go towards salads for lunch, but what's your take on that?
So if you are a salad person, I would think bootable instead. I would think, what can we add into this to make it more nourishing? Again, I see a lot of people that have like a romaine salad with maybe a little bit of chicken, and it's like they're not satiated, they're not full. I don't recommend that. Instead, I want you to just think, how many plant foods can I add to this? So let's say you do want a bowl, maybe do a bed of arugula, maybe cook some quinoa and bone broth or wild rice if you like that. You can roast some cruciferous vegetables, so broccoli and cauliflower. You can add that to it. Then you can do a protein. So whether it's wild salmon, chicken, organic turkey, beans, if you're a tofu person, non-GMO, organic always, add that to it. And then think dressing. I think dressing, spices, herbs really make food taste good. So maybe do a lemon tahini maple dressing. Yeah, and then there you go. You have lots of protein, lots of fat, lots of fiber. You can add avocado to that. And it's not boring. It's fun. And you can make it Mediterranean inspired one day, Mexican inspired the one day. You can do, use sesame oil and maybe sunflower butter, peanut butter in the dressing the next day to make it more Asian.
So seed oils. What oils should we actively avoid? And which ones should we be incorporating into our diet? I know you said cold pressed olive oil, avocado oil.
Yeah, avocado is great. I'm sure you know them.
Sunflower oil?
No, I'm not a big fan of sunflower.
It's in the Ithaca hummus.
A little bit. Again, I'm not.
I love that hummus. We had it the other night. It's so good.
It is in there. So I'm not a big proponent of vegetable or seed oils. But again, I like simple meals, and there's sunflower, safflower, organic in there. Great. I'm going to still eat them. Right. Am I going to eat them breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day? No. But here and there, it's okay. Right. Cooking. I would cook with cold pressed olive oil, with avocado oil, with coconut oil. If you are someone that can do dairy, grass-fed or organic butter, tallow, ghee, works really well. Cooking, you can do sesame oil. The oils we want to avoid is the canola, the palm, the vegetable, the sunflower, the safflower. Those are going to be more inflammatory for the body.
Yeah, perfect. So I know that you're really into water quality and you have a Berkey.
I do.
Which I'm obsessed with. I really want one. I'm going to order one soon.
You should.
But it's basically, for those of you that don't know, it's this tin. I guess it's tin. I don't know what you would call that, but you have it on your counter. Stainless steel water filter. And it's supposed to just produce the most clean, amazing water.
I was thinking about this the other day. I hate, if someone was like, jump off this bridge or drink tap water, I would probably jump. Just because I know all of the things in them. I was writing a case study the other day, and I had to research so much of environmental toxins in how we're being exposed to, basically. And so much of it is through water contamination.
Wow.
It's disgusting. We're seeing pharmaceutical remnants. We're seeing chlorine. We're seeing parasites. We're just seeing so many toxins in water that people are drinking lots of throughout the day. Again, they're, adding to their overall toxic burden already. And scientists already estimate that up to 700 toxins reside in an adult and up to 250 reside in a child. So that's why I'm so mindful of ways I can reduce my overall toxic burden. Because again, we live in New York. We step outside. We can't control what we're breathing in and exposed to. But when we're home, we can control what we're drinking, what we're breathing in, what we're eating. And that's where I like to be mindful of it. I want to make sure that I'm drinking, my friends are drinking clean water. I want to make sure they're breathing in clean air. Because again, science has shown us that some people's homes are more polluted than the air outside.
Wow.
It's like, think of it like a Ziploc bag. You spend majority of your time in your living environment.
Right.
You want to make sure it's
I noticed
clean.
you have an air doctor.
Yeah.
I want one. I'm just copying you.
Honestly.
Berkey and air doctor. Those are on my wish list, on my Amazon wish list.
That's a good one.
But yeah, speaking of like going outside in New York, I feel like eating and dining out is very common here. What are your tips for people that want to eat out but are trying to incorporate a more clean diet? I don't really like the word clean diet, but like, you know, make some more healthier decisions.
Yeah. So again, we can nourish ourselves through food, but we can also nourish ourselves through experiences, friends, fun, traveling. So not having a good relationship with, you know, that balance. There was a time in my life where it was not healthy. I was too aware of everything they were doing within the food, so I didn't want to go out to eat with my friends. I was, you know, I would research all the restaurants if I was traveling, and that's, again, not healthy at all, you know, being that hyper focused. So when you are out, be, of course, mindful, but have fun and order what you want. When it comes to making a healthy decision or a healthier decision, try to pick something that, you know, has greens, has protein in there, that isn't fried or isn't ultra processed, if possible. So staying away from, you know, the fried chicken, unless you really want it and it's on occasion, then have fun. Take some digestive enzymes before. But
you're the supplement queen too.
I am. I know. I was like, my Valentine's Day dinner party, I was like, there's a lot of fiber in here. Anyone need a digestive enzyme?
Gave us the Hilma.
I did.
Supplement.
Shout out to Hilma.
Yeah.
Love Hilma. Yeah. So I would say just being mindful. So getting, let's say, veggie, getting a source of protein in there. Don't just have maybe a bowl of pasta. Also order maybe a side of greens, broccoli, etc. when you're out. So making sure that you're getting a diverse range of colors.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, any last words?
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
This was fun. I feel like I learned a lot.
Okay.
And like, I feel like I have things that I can apply to my own diet now, or like to my own lifestyle, which is exciting.
Nutrition does not have to be, and health does not need to be complicated. It is right now, because on social media, you're seeing, don't eat eggs, don't eat fruit, don't eat grains, don't eat spinach,
don't eat anything.
Don't eat, you know, literally don't eat anything. And then people come to me like, I'm so confused. And I'm like, you have every right to be, because it's so confusing, all the conflicting things that people are saying. I'm a research person. I'm a data person. I like to look at the science. I also like to look at the person. How do you feel eating these foods? If you feel great eating cottage cheese or Greek yogurt and all your labs look amazing and you're not having issues, why would you eliminate that?
Right.
Versus if you're feeling terrible eating, you know, the dairy or the gluten, then yes, let's look at underlying root causes and let's maybe stay away from it. But
yeah, I feel like your body will tell you if there's issues.
Your body does talk, but it can be, symptoms are your body's way of talking to you. Symptoms are information. But again, going back to, you know, sensitivity, sometimes it does take removing it and adding it back in for your body to talk to you appropriately.
Right.
And that's why I really emphasize working with a practitioner that can help guide you. It can be really overwhelming to try to treat yourself and, you know, do your job, raise your kids, etc. So, you know, I do recommend having help when it comes to navigating it.
Absolutely. Getting your tests done.
Yeah.
Getting your labs done.
I'm a big lab person.
I know. I
love a GI map.
I love that. Well, please tell the audience how they can reconnect or connect if they've listened to the past episode that you've been on,
and how they could potentially work with you, all that good stuff.
So you can find me at the nourishingplate.org. I need to make that .com, but
you're an organization.
I'm not. That's what I am currently. If you want to work with me and a functional medicine doctor who is an MD, you can find us at sagehealthmd.com. If you want to find me on Instagram for easy, quick recipes that aren't you slaving away over the stove all day, you can find me at the nourishingplate_. And I have so many links on there too. So
yeah, you have a lot of information on there.
I try. I want to make more content that's informative and helpful.
I think it's all informative and helpful.
Okay, that's what I try. I just want to help everyone.
.org, you're a giver.
Really, I'm a giver. So I also have my own practice, The Nourishing Plate. So you can find that on my website if you just want to work with me, or if you want to work with a doctor and me, that's Sage Health.
Yeah, well, we need to finish our water with our Celtic sea salts, which is great for electrolytes, by the way. I don't think we mentioned that. And then we're going to go get our truffle fries.
Oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to that.
Where is it? PS Kitchen?
Yeah.
Slay.
Well,
thank you so much for coming on. This was such a treat. And I have so many other ideas. So you'll have to come back on.
Have me on whenever I'm here.
Yes. You're our in-house health coach.
Oh my gosh.
Nutrition expert.
Love.
So if you guys like this episode, please feel free to like, rate, and subscribe to Martinis and Bikinis on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's actually the best way to help the podcast. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.